For your human design, you're saying you looked up that?
Yeah, yes. How
Um,
do I turn the camera on? I'm so new to this. Sorry.
I'm not sure, honestly. So I joined someone live once, but I don't remember how I turned the camera on. It was a lot of just randomly pushing the screen.
I
Oh,
think
there
I
we
have
are.
it. Thank you. Awesome.
Yay. Oh, look at the fun
Awesome.
lighting you have back there. That's really cool.
Yeah, I'm always in a party. That's what I do. So so tell me about yeah, this human design thing. Have you heard of Gene Keys?
Yes, yes.
Mhm.
So, yeah, are you familiar with Gene Keys?
Gene Keys, yes. Number 6, the diplomacy.
Okay, awesome. So that comes
What
here
about
off the
you?
solar plexus.
Okay.
So yeah, Richard Rudd, who downloaded Gene Keys, was a student of Ra, who downloaded this system. So they used to work together very closely. So it's really related. The Gene Keys really goes deeper into all the gates, like all these numbers will find you, and like it relates to the Gene Keys. And so Richard Rudd just kind of envisions it in a little different way. So it's all based on your birth information. So this
Mhm.
chart would come together in a certain way, and you'd be one of 5 types, and then you'd have specific gates lit up, and it would just tell different aspects of your soul. And then the Gene Keys really gets into the gates of it and helps you to understand the shadow, the gift, and the ultimate expression of each gate, and your life
So
purpose and different things.
so
So
this is more I see this design for how to communicate, right? How to express your energy, right?
yeah, that's a
This
good way
is
to put it.
so that's how I see like to understand the body and how to because this one tells me, I don't know which one is it that I cannot give information until they ask for it.
Are
I
you a
don't know which one it
projector?
is.
Or
I need to
yeah.
check. I need to go back, but it says that don't in a conversation until they ask for my opinion, I will need to do it because I don't know however it works. But yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, so that's probably a projector, because the strategy of projectors wait for recognition and invitation. And that just means that like the projector aura can really see things in a deep way, and not everybody is really ready for our insight or really wants it. And
Yeah,
so if we're like forcing our perspective, then it's just it's going to frustrate people. But if we
exactly.
let them invite us to talk more, then it goes better.
Lovely. I like that you know this because once I would teach you the archetype so that way you can see the relevancy. Now, can you
Yeah,
see
what
my
are the
back?
archetypes?
The
Okay.
So the archetypes, it's Carl Jung. He's the one who came up with the name of it. He's a
Oh, yeah, yeah.
psychoanalyst, and he came up with the 12 archetypes in the collective unconscious. If you see, there's 12. The same has the zodiac signs, right? Because
Uh-huh.
that's how everything starts. It starts from the day we're born, because we are nature. Everything is connected to that synchronicity, right? To the
Mm-hmm.
nature, the consciousness of nature, and how we evolve. And each of them are levels of consciousness. The way that I see archetypes are different levels of consciousness. So if you see they're divided by 4, so there's only 4 type of people. They're the social people, action people, practical people, and emotional people.
Mm.
So like you said, like if there is these people are more emotional, are more philosophical. I call them the hippie kind of people. They're more connected to nature. So if you I come with deep thoughts to this kind of people, which are social. Those social people only want to have small talks and they don't care about the deep stuff, right? So that by understanding which archetype, which frequency people are, you can uh, interact and how to express that communication. So the way I use this on brand, on businesses. So that way it's more the like the businesses they use archetypes, kind of like Nike is a hero archetype, Disney
Mm-hmm.
is a magician archetype. So Apple, it's a creator archetype. If you see that process, I can show you around. This is the metaverse. Welcome to the metaverse. And he'll have all my archetypes here, and maybe one day I can teach you. I can, if you're interested, I can show you around the archetypal journey and how all archetypes connects. Because the way I see it, it starts over here. So this is our levels of consciousness, right? Everything starts from 50 age, right? 50 months of age. to five
Mhm.
a month. That's the first level of consciousness where we start. We don't have consciousness, like aware of it, and we still learning from the environment. So everything that we are is influenced by the environment. So I don't know.
Very cool.
Do you see it? Okay,
Yeah.
that's awesome. So this is the metaverse. I have I'm mixing virtual reality with the things I do.
Wow. That's really cool. So what's your archetype?
I'm the wizard archetype. So my purpose is to look for always look for the truth, organize all the information, and give it to people in simplicity. And in movies, what the wizard does is to give the map to the hero. So he gives the guide to the hero. So
Mhm.
that's what I do because only the why the hero because the hero already found what he loved. He knows who he is, so he's willing to die for it. He's willing to go for the cause. So all I need to do is say, okay, if you want to defeat whatever villain, this is the map, or save the world, whatever his mission is, right?
Okay, yes. It's funny because that's very much a projector vibe as well. So, how do you find your archetype on that one?
So the way that I do it is by the date of birth. Of course, the same. Everything's by the date of birth.
Okay, that makes sense. Okay, well, now I'd be so like it'd be interesting to overlap it with human design just to see what
Well,
happens
let's
there.
see. What is your zodiac sign?
Virgo sun.
So you're the same as me. You're the wizard archetype. So our purpose is to convert all that information that people don't understand, organize it, and give it to people into simplicity. So the wizard archetype will be. So this is kind of like a mood board of the wizard archetype, the way I created it. So this is in if you're going to create a brand, this will be kind of the simple colors, the the words and everything. So
Very cool. Okay, yeah,
because
that
everything is
just
information.
huh.
So
Very fascinating.
the wizard archetype, it's about yeah, organize information. That's what they do best.
And you know what? That is what I do best, and that's also what my human design chart says. That's so
Awesome.
fun.
Nice to meet you, wizard.
It's so good to meet you too. Thanks for chatting with me about this. It was really interesting. I'm gonna research a
Okay.
little bit more later tonight.
Yeah, well, if you have any questions, just let me know for sure.
Okay, yeah, I will. Thank you for chatting. Oh, hold
Okay.
on. Somebody's asking, what is this called and is there a website? We're talking about the archetypes, the Carl Jung archetypes.
Yeah, over here. There's 12.
Yeah. And it's based on your birth info. So yeah. Cool. Thank you so much. And sorry, tell me your name again.
Project Roll, but my name is the Great Daniel.
Awesome. It's so good to meet you.
Awesome. So take care.
Okay, well, that was fun. Thug Empress, you have the Carl Jung books. Carl Jung is very fascinating. He really is. I know I learned about him a lot in school, but I haven't studied him in a while, so this is fun. This is fun. And I just thought it was cool that there was this overlap of how I'm the wizard and I'm also a mental projector, which is basically the wizard. Like, they always say that the projectors, it's like you're Gandalf. You're the one given the wisdom. So I'm going to research more of that later. Sounds like fun. First book I got when I started my spiritual journey. Really? That's really cool. I remember the first book that really impacted me and started me in making changes within was The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. Or it was the Great Earth, the Earth one, the New Earth. Maybe it was that one. I think I read them both. Like I read one and then I read the other right after. And then it was right in my Saturn return too. And then everything exploded. As it was meant to, I guess. The Celestine Prophecy, pretty good. Ooh, Dominic. You know, I don't think I've read that one, but obviously I've heard about it. Let me look it up. Have y'all read The Alchemist by Don Miguel Ruiz? No, not Don Miguel. Don Miguel Ruiz is The Four Agreements, and yeah, it's really good. I would definitely recommend. Paulo Coelho. Yes, The Alchemist was another really good one. I've reread that one a few times. Okay, I put Celestine Prophecy on my list. I'll have to check that one out. I've also, you just finished The Journey of Souls. But that one sounds good. So many good ones. Do we need a book club in all of our spare time? Start a book club of some really amazing books. Journey of Souls. Okay, how'd you like that one? Journey of Souls book. Okay, that one's about like past lives and stuff, right? Is that right? Okay. I'm just like typing it. Ooh, and Carolyn Miss. Yes, thank you. Carolyn Miss is really good too. Okay, so many good ones. I've been listening to Joe Dispenza on audiobook during my workouts lately, so this is giving me like way more to listen to. I'm gonna have to do like 2 workouts a day so I can listen to more books. So good. Okay, because I'm so curious about the past lives and different things. It's just so fascinating to me. Have y'all ever done like a hypnosis or anything on that? I've done a hypnosis specifically for past lives, and then one time I was doing a meditation and had this vision of something from a past life that was a little traumatic. You have, Dominic? How was it? Okay, you know what? Chatting with people is fun. I don't know if I can go, like if anybody else wants to go live and talk about their favorite book or something, just let me know. Because or like a past life regression, because it was very interesting, the experience I had. It's also been like 10 years. I'm trained in quantum healing hypnosis therapy, but haven't had it done. Interesting. So you're trained in it, like you just do it for other people, but you haven't had someone do it for you. You didn't have to do that during the training? Or are you saying you haven't done like specific past life regression? Quantum healing hypnosis therapy. That sounds amazing. And like something I probably need. Because y'all, it's been exhausting. Like this past week, maybe it's the new moon, but it was online because of COVID. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Lovely COVID. Okay. Well, interesting. Do you do the hypnosis? Like, can you do it over Zoom with someone, or do you have to be in the same room with them? Dominic, my story's too long and complicated, but I did a regression, learned of a cool lady past life. Oh, like you were a lady in a past life? So interesting. I've had several clients, but didn't get to do it on myself. Okay. Well, maybe one day. Do you have any desire to do it on yourself? Or it's just something you want to do for other people? Because I can relate to that. I had to sign a contract, no online sessions. Oh, okay. That's probably smart. I'd be curious to know of what your experiences would be doing it on yourself. Right? Yeah, that's a good question, Dominic. Like, I'd be curious too with Thug Empress. Like, what can you do it on yourself? In case the internet goes out. That makes so much sense, Thug Empress. Yes, because what if you have someone like deep in hypnosis and then the internet goes out? Like, what would you do? Oh, like, yeah, I'm just laughing because it like scares me. Like, I don't know what else to do. Like that would be scary and probably unethical. So that makes sense. That's good that you don't do it online. I'm glad someone thought of that. Yeah, exactly. I can only imagine. Like someone's deep in hypnosis and then the internet goes out for some reason, and then yeah, that could be scary. Um, um, very cool. I've never done the quantum healing. I'm going to go back and look at the name again. Quantum healing hypnosis therapy. I've never done that myself. I've tried self hypnosis a bit. I always fall asleep. Yeah. Yeah, Dominic, doesn't that sound fascinating? Oh, it's Dolores Cannon. Okay, I get that. Okay, I'm gonna just open another tab here on my internet. I'm gonna have like 20 tabs by the end of this with all of y'all's stuff for me to look at. Quantum healing hypnosis. My one line is like, I need to know more. And then my channel of curiosity and my fear motivation, like all the questions. All the questions. That used to be something like I shut myself down from asking questions when I was younger because it's like it I thought it made people mad somehow. I don't remember the exact memory, but I've allowed myself to indulge into the questions lately. Thug Empress, you're one line too. You want to know it all. Dominic, have you ever heard of Seth Speaks? I feel like I have heard of it, but it's not like I don't really remember what it is. It just sounds familiar, you know? It's a book series written by a channeled being back. Huh. There's another tab. Let's see. Seth Speaks by Jane Roberts. It's on Audible. I'm about to cancel my Audible, so maybe I'll get that before I cancel. Y'all, do you listen to audiobooks? Because I used to not, but I did Audible, and then now I finally tried Scribd, and it's so much better. They have so many more options than Audible. Yeah. Okay, so I have Seth Speaks on here. Okay, that's interesting. I'm always so curious about the channeled messages from people. Like Abraham Hicks, of course, is the most popular one. Y'all know Abraham Hicks, right? And I just forgot the other one. It'll come back to me. But whenever I'm in a low place, I just put on some Abraham Hicks, and it always helps me so much. Yeah. I just ordered my coffee of Definiga. Awesome, Dominic! Yes! Bouchard, Thug Upwards, you read my mind. Thank you. That was exactly it. Yes. And I don't get as into him, but he's still really fascinating. And I swear I've channeled a couple times, but then it's like it freaks me out, and so then I stop, and then I can't do it for like a year. West Coast gal, what is cold digestion in human design? So cold digestion is cold thirst. So you're one, like your system might run a little better with cold drinks. Like you're one that probably still drinks iced coffee in the middle of winter. And you like your drinks cold. You probably prefer salad over a hot soup. Your food, you're one that would let it sit for a bit so it could at least get to room temperature. And you don't like you're not into the hot stuff. You're not going to have the hot coffee. That's just what your system likes better. You want the AC on. You would probably hate it here in Houston. So with the digestion, remember this is how you digest food. It's how you digest information. It's how you digest life. So for you, I would experiment with that. Like drink cold drinks. See how you feel. And if you feel like drinking a hot drink, drink a hot drink. And then just see how you feel after. Just start to observe. What does your body feel like? What does your mind feel like? Different things. Does that resonate with you? Let me know. Let me know, West Coast gal. Thug Empress. Me too. It's hard to not be in control. Yeah. It's a weird thing. It's like I want to channel because I want to have connection to my spirit guides and I want to have that guidance. And I think it's really fascinating. But I remember the first time I did it, and it freaked me out so bad. It was by a recommendation from Gabrielle. Why am I forgetting names? But it was in one of her books, and she's like, "Here, try this." And so I did, and it was a journal exercise, and I tried it, and I was like asking for guides, and then I felt like something take over my pen. It's like, okay, and then I was writing and I'm like, okay, what's your name? And he said, Brian. And I was like, no offense, but I was expecting something a little more spiritual. And he laughed and was like, look it up. And so I Googled it, and on the site that I first picked on, it was like anointed one. The name meaning was anointed one. So I was like, touche. Okay, cool. And then I was like, oh crap, this is working, and shut it down, and I couldn't do it for like a year. And I've done it a few times since then, but that story just always cracks me up. Thug Empress, I have Human Design by Cheaton Parkin, just starting into it. Awesome. Cheaton Parkin is, I like how he explains things because he's a little more chill. Like, he seems like a dude, right? Where he's like, this is how it is. Like, I was just reading one of his earlier for the Identity Center for a little digital offer that I'm putting together. And he even mentions Britney Spears in it, you know? He's not as deep and intense as Raw. West Coast gal. I love ice cold beverages, but I love hot food and hot soups. I love heat and hot over cold. Okay, so this would just be something. So here's the thing. I never want to put anybody in a box or make them feel like, oh, you have cold digestion, so now you have to eat all the cold food. So one thing is, first of all, you know, make sure you have the birth time right. And if you do, cool. And then, like I said, just experiment with it. Like, experiment with how you feel. Why do you like the hot over the cold? You know, what does it feel like in your body? How, like, do you feel energized? Can you think better after hot food or cold food? Just really start to feel into it, because sometimes with a lot of things, not just digestion, but with a lot of things, it's like we've just conditioned ourselves into believing this is who we are. And then once we align to our design and kind of experiment with what our design says, we realize, like, oh, no, I feel so much better this way. I mean, this happened for me specifically. I'm a mental projector, and like, I've just been living incorrectly my entire life. But again, no pressure, okay? Zero pressure at all. Just kind of experiment with it and see what happens. And you know what? If you like hot food better than cold food, then do that. Or I knew somebody with cold food. I had one client with cold thirst, and she's like, well, I mean, I still like some hot food, but there were these other things, like she wanted a glass of cold water first thing in the morning, or um, different things, like with life, that she liked a little more cold. It wasn't so much about the food for her, it was like temperature wise, you know what I mean? So just kind of observe how temperature plays into your life. You're welcome, West Coast gal. Yeah. Thug Empress, what does line 1 mean? I meant to ask earlier. I'm a 6-2 profile. Okay, so the one line, so I'm a 1-3 profile, and you'll notice that with each gate, it has a little number after it. I should maybe change my background. But anything after the decimal point, that's the line of the gate. And so the 1 line is the foundation. There's 6 lines. And so the 1 line is the foundation. And the 1 line really loves to have foundational knowledge. It wants all of the knowledge, okay? It wants to know everything. It doesn't really feel safe until it thinks it knows everything, which obviously is impossible. So that's an insecurity for 1 line. But the 1 line, so hopefully y'all are getting to know me and when my thoughts start going too fast from my mouth. So yeah, that 1 line, that's put simply. It's the foundation. If you think of all 6 lines, it starts with 1 at the bottom, and then 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And that's why 6 is the role model and has that higher up perspective. And so the 1 line just wants that foundational knowledge. They're the ones that will nerd out on the things most likely. So here's the thing, because I know you said that you like to have that knowledge too. You like to really lean into stuff. And so while that's not super typical of a 6-2 profile, you can look at all your gates on either side and look at the lines that you have there. Like, how many 1 lines do you have in your gates? How many 2 lines? How many 3 lines? So like when I look at mine, I'm very predominantly a 1-3. That most of my gates have a line 1 or line 3. Sadly, I have like 1 line 4, which makes me really frustrated, because how am I supposed to make friends? I feel like the 4 lines, they just talk about stuff and then people show up for them. So yeah, let me know if that answered your question. I'm going to take a little bite of my snack here. I just discovered a new little shop by my place. Four red, three black for your one lines. So that can just give you an idea. Like if you look at all of them, and then you can see what the predominant energy is. It's just kind of a fun thing to explore. So let's say you have 7 one lines, then let's look at how many 2 lines you have and how many 3 lines and just all of that, you know. Because obviously there's other aspects in the chart that wants to research and get that foundational knowledge, but that's the typical of the one line. Shorejoy, what are the lines? Newbie here. So that's where we talk about the profile, the 1-3. Hold on, let me switch my background really quick. I feel like I can explain a little better when I can point to specific things. Okay, so the lines we've referenced from the profile. Mine's a 1-3, and like Thug Empress was talking, she's a 6-2. So you'll hear me say a lot like, oh, my 1 line or my 3 line, and I reference that from my profile because that's the biggest energy. But then if you look on the side here with all these gates, you'll see 47, my finger disappears, 47.1. So that's the 1 line. 22.1 is the 1 line. And then 61.5, I have a 5 line for that gate. So whatever comes after that. And then on the red side as well, on the design side. You can look at that. You're so welcome. Yeah. I need to remember to write down y'all's questions so that I can make videos and podcasts about it and stuff. You're a 2-4, Shorja? Okay, that's a great profile. That's fabulous. And then I was just telling Thug Empress, like something that's kind of fun to do if you feel like exploring is looking at all of these lines and just seeing how many 1 lines you have and how many 2 lines on both sides, okay, on this side and this side. Because then that kind of gives you an idea of the energetics of your chart overall as well. Let's see, do you know what the sun gate means? Yes, so the sun gate on the personality side really highlights your life's purpose. It's like your brand. Like Nike would have the Nike check up here. Yours is 33.6. Okay. Hold on just a second, because for some reason it's not popping in my head. But this is like the biggest energy in your gate or in your chart because we get 80% of our energy, 80% of the neutrinos from the sun. 80% of the neutrinos that we experience in any moment is from the sun. And so that's why it's 80% of the energy of our chart. And that's why we call it like the brand. And when you're first starting, if you feel like digging into a gate, that's where I would suggest you start. So let me look at my fabulous cheat sheet here. That I do have available in my shop if anybody's interested. I have a couple. So this is the gate of privacy, right? Oh, it's in the throat. Okay, yeah. It's so funny because some gates I don't really talk about much. I just don't, like, none of my clients will have them and I don't have it, so I don't get to talk about it much. But the 33, it's like now I'm remembering, it's coming off the throat and it's going down to the identity center towards that 13. And the gift here is mindfulness. Oh, and it's a Leo gate. Okay. Leo vibes. Got it. So with this gate 33, it's coming from the gate 13. And together, those energies are like the energy of keeping and sharing secrets. It's like, it's not like you're telling people's business. It's like you've heard a lot of stories and then you integrate those stories and share them as wisdom for the collective. And your life path number is 33 as well, on top of your sun gate being 33. That's fascinating. Oh, no, wait. Life path is the gene keys. No, I'm confusing myself. Life path is numerology. What's happening to my brain right now? Life path is numerology, right? Okay, I hadn't transferred. Okay, thank you. I hadn't transferred my written notes down to my computer notes yet. Projector brain, yes. Yes, thank you, Dominic. So yeah, yeah, it's all about the value in people's life stories, sharing when the time is right. It's one of the storyteller gates. Like the 56 that I have is a storyteller gate. So that's the quick, short version of it. It's like listening to life stories and being able to share them. It's a great, like, author, screenwriter thing. Like, you know how human stories can be so impactful and so uniting. So it's a pretty cool energy. Let me know how that resonates with you. Sure, Joy, is there anything in the chart to do with age? 48 and I'm flattened. Yeah, a couple things. Wait, you said you're a 2-4, Share Joy? Was that correct? Yes. So there can be a couple things there. I'd have to, look overall. And if anybody wants, I mean, I'm happy to do donation-based readings again today. For sure. I mean, I love it. But yeah, with 48, like if you're 48 and flattened, I'd be curious, one, how are you doing with strategy and authority? Obviously, if you're just figuring out human design, there's a good chance you've been living authentically for a very long time, which is fine. It's like what we do as humans. So how are you doing with following your strategy and authority? Because that will really help you to fine tune your energetics. And then also, Uranus return happens around 42. And so in our 40s, it's really about like the whole midlife crisis thing is astrological. It's like getting you on the right track of where you need to be. So if you're flattened, let me know what your type is. What is your type? You said you're a 2-4, because that will help. Do you know your type and authority? And then thank you for sharing, Dominic. And then also just really honoring the white centers in your chart and realizing how vulnerable those are and how much energy they're taking in. Okay, sacral generator. Got it. Yeah. So I know plenty of generators who have made it to adulthood ignoring their sacral. And so that would be my guess. Like, how much do you do things that are truly satisfying for you? How often do you feel satisfied? How often do you feel really lit up by life? Do you love things? Because as a sacral generator, you're meant to just really be in love with life and to follow the response of that sacral and to let it guide you. And there's so many generators who don't, for various reasons, because the sacral doesn't always make sense and they feel like they've got to explain things. And that's where the not self voices come in with all the undefined centers. I feel like I always did, but got burned really bad in all ways at 44. I'm so sorry. So sorry. I'm just trying to feel into the energy of it a little bit to see how I can help. Your phone died, like Empress? I'm so sorry. It is super interesting, right? And it's hard for me. I feel like I feel like my one line and defined mind really want to explore like all of the avenues. Like, let's deep dive into all the things. It's like, that's kind of exhausting. Like, we don't need to do that. One line, calm down. But then all my openness is like, no, that's fine. That feels like it would be a lot of feelings. We don't need to do that. And so if you feel like you were following your sacral and you were living a satisfied life and then you got burned, I would just be curious to ask, what was really going on there, and to do some journaling and reflection of like, were you truly in satisfaction, or were you like for yourself, were you listening to that sacral in the past, or was there anything coming from the not self that you thought was satisfaction but wasn't really, if that makes sense. Like, for example, the heart center is all about proving your worth. If it's undefined, so I don't know what you have undefined, but if the heart center is undefined, then people tend to do things in order to prove their worth. And so maybe you were doing things and then somehow people made you feel good about it, so then you thought it was satisfying, but really it was just the not self being pacified. But that's just a theory, right? Because we're not like in the same space, like looking at your chart talking about this. So I could be way off. I don't know. Let me know. But that would be the first thing, is to just look back, like what was truly satisfying about it, why was it satisfying, and then what happened with the blow up. And this is just for you to kind of explore, and or maybe reach out to Thug Empress. Yeah, reach out to Thug Empress and get some meditation. You're so welcome, Share Joy. Yeah, I know it feels kind of surface level, but I mean, that's the best I can do in a life, really. Thug Empress, I love those emojis. Because, yeah, I mean, especially, I just turned 40, so I speak as a person in my 40s, where I can look back and on times that I thought I was doing what I wanted. I thought I was doing things that pleased me, but really I was not. But I have so much openness, so it's been a lot for me to unpack. And I'm just trying to think of like astrological things. So you'll be 40 in August. Welcome. I was honestly really excited about turning 40. Life with Danny. I'm 41. Girls in their 40s are going to be the best. Yes. Yes. They are going to be the best time. I was genuinely excited. I was like, get me out of childhood. Okay? Like, I want to live my life. Sure, Joy. So for donations for readings, if you go to the link in my bio and press on support my work, and then you can do a donation there and put your birth information in there, and then we can go from there. 44 is one of the 2 best times in my life. Awesome. I think they downplay 40s because they don't want people to know, right? Life with Danny. I was like, you know how when we're growing up, yeah, y'all are my age. So, when we're growing up, it was like, oh, when you hit 40, you're over the hill and you're so old and life is over and blah. And so I was so nervous. But now that I'm at 40, I'm like, what were they talking about? Like, life is just getting started. So dumb. Scorpio, Taurus. Okay. Key traits of a generator. Dominic, I'm appreciative of your perspective as a 40-year-old. You have the context. Yes. Yes. And I get to be your second mom, right? I feel like I'm in my 20s too, Thug Empress. Okay, let me answer Scorpio's question. Scorpio, Sun, Taurus, Moon. So, Scorpio, key traits of a generator is satisfaction, honestly. That's your key feeling. That's your like North Star feeling. And you have that sacral in you that is the home of the workforce and life force energy. It's like, for me as a projector, whenever I'm around a generator, I can feel it. It's like a energetic hug. They say your aura is warm and enveloping, and I feel that whenever I'm with a generator. It's so good. And so when you think of the sacral and you think of that life force energy, it's like that. It's the goodness of life. And so you're meant to really experience the goodness of life and share the energy of that goodness with us. So in a perfect world as a generator, you wake up with a tank full of gas, you spend your whole day doing things that only satisfy you, that only bring you so much joy. And then by doing that, you are in so much satisfaction that you are just so bright and bubbly and amazing, and people are drawn to you. And then you use that sacral response to respond to the people and opportunities that are correct for you. And then again, ideally by the end of the day, you've used up all of your energy on all of that goodness, and you just fall to bed exhausted because you've had such a good time. So that sacral is like a battery, wakes up full, you use it all that day, live life to the fullest, then you fall to bed exhausted because you had so much fun. Then you wake up with a tank full of gas and do it all again the next day. Okay, Shordra, yes. But do you start losing eyesight and skin elasticity, etc.? Yes, I'm 18 in my heart. Yeah. Okay, you know what? I've been doing CrossFit for a few years, and I just quit last year for a lot of reasons. And just in the past couple months, I've started to notice, like, I'm in the gym still, and I lift. I took a few months off. Anyways, the whole thing. And so I'm lifting, and I look in the mirror, and there's like all this cellulite, like something weird happening here. Can't even make it happen right now, but I was like, what is that? So I feel like I'm starting to lose some skin elasticity, but I mean, that's kind of normal, and I just gotta change my diet. I also surprisingly do not mind my gray hairs. I kind of like them. I'll fix my picture in a minute. Gina Marie Fluid Art. Gina Marie, I might have missed a comment because all I see is raising. Hi, Gina Duro. Gina Duro. Oh gosh. Am I messing that up? I'm messing that up. Hello. I'm loving this combo between Thug Empress and Shorejoy. It's so happy. Okay, Shorejoy. Oh my goodness. Light bulb moment. I have been doing what I want, thinking I should be wanting other. Yes, it's been my experience of why people say downhill after 40. Yeah. Okay. I'm excited about this light bulb moment. Tell me more about this light bulb moment. Let's solidify this light bulb moment for you. I sun gaze and my eyesight has gotten better, but definitely have the skin issues happening and hair loss. What with the sun gaze? Y'all, you know what though? I've had glasses since I was 12, and I've been nearsighted. And my dad was always nearsighted. And it was funny, like growing up, my parents were 30 when they had me, so I was like 10 when they hit 40s. And I noticed my mom had to start having glasses everywhere so that she could see things. But my dad, who wore glasses all the time, he would take them off so that he could read. And I was like, okay, when I'm 40, like I'm already used to wearing glasses, so I'd rather be able to still see up close rather than have to get glasses to see up close and be one of those that's like, So I've been wearing glasses most of my life. It doesn't bother me. Gray hair equals great hair. Yes. Yes. I call it my wisdom sparkles. It's a hard name. It's okay. Thank you. Thank you for your forgiveness. I try to do so good. It's giving like Italian vibes to me. Am I picking up on that correctly or no? Maybe it's partly this weird background that popped up. Life with Danny sun gazes too. You can see the download symbols. What is this sun gazing? I'm missing out on something. Am I gonna have to open a new tab? Sure, Joy. I've been lazy, but thinking I should be wanting to do something. Okay. Okay. Love a good light bulb moment. Huh. Okay. You also moon gaze. Okay. I like listening to music during it. It looks like those computer screens that play to the songs. Oh my gosh. Okay, Gina, I got it. Good. Good. I wish I could be in Italy right now. That sounds amazing. You made me realize lazy is what I actually want. Thank you. You're so welcome. Yes, yes. Follow that satisfaction. And you know what? Honestly, maybe it's not lazy. It's your body that saying, "Girl, sit down. Like rest for a hot minute." Because that sacral also needs rest. Like if you've been using that sacral energy for everybody else for 48 years, then you're exhausted, you know? And that sacral is exhausted. And it's like, no, bitch. It's time for you to use this energy for you to light up the world in your amazingness. But first we gotta rest. We gotta plug in. We gotta chill for a hot minute and then we'll be good to go. So yes, listen to that sacral. If it wants to rest, you rest. I love it. So glad you had that epiphany. Life with Danny, yes, eyes water, etc. And you have to build up, start for short periods, last 30 minutes or first 30. Like, are you just literally like staring into the sun? Like they always tell you not to when you're a kid? Or like staring at the moon? Is that what this is? Okay, sure, Joy. I'm so glad that this epiphany happened for you. It makes me so happy. Thug Empress. It's hard to stop when you're a generator. It really is. I mean, I see one of my generator friends. Yeah, it can be for sure, because you have consistent access to your sacral energy. But okay, let me know if y'all have seen Encanto on Disney Plus. Because if not, you have to watch it. All my generator people in here, you have to watch it and you have to pay attention to Luisa. Gina, I sun gazed today. I've been putting my hands and feet in the sun. Oh, my favorite thing is to go just sit barefoot in the grass. The other day, seriously, I was sitting in the grass and then I was just like holding pieces of grass in my hand. It was like I was holding hands with the earth. That's how I felt. And I was so happy. Okay, at sunrise or sunset. Got it. Thanks, y'all. Happy to know about sun gazing too. Thanks. Okay, Shorejoy's into it too. Shorejoy, maybe the sacral wants you to sun gaze a bit. So impressed. We don't talk about Bruno. Oh my gosh. Now I'm going to have to watch that movie tonight because, y'all, I literally watched it like 20 times in a row. I was obsessed. Dominic, isn't that a great example? Yes. Great example. I did a couple videos on it. Like, Louisa's 100% a generator. And Mirabelle, projector, for sure. Isabel, manifester. Probably an ego manifester. Yeah. The middle. Yeah, Shorejoy, check it out if you have Disney Plus. I mean, it's an amazing movie, but definitely like watch Louisa. You will probably cry. I'm just letting you know. Dominic, I was just talking earlier with a sacral generator from it about similar issues they have. Going to use Louisa as reference now. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Because then, like, there's been so many times I've referenced Louisa, and then people are like, oh. Life with Danny. I'm a reflector, so I try to do both. Moon is harder if there's clouds. Oh, yeah, that makes sense. Love it. I'm going to have to try the sun and moon gazing as well. That sounds like, it just sounds so peaceful and lovely. I mean, it makes sense now, like, because I think about stargazing. It's like, oh, you can look at the stars. But for some reason, I haven't really thought about sun gazing or moon gazing. But you know what? Last year we went to Wyoming. My mom actually grew up in Cody, Wyoming. And some moon gaze. Yeah. I feel like it's probably harder right now in the summertime. But my family, like my mom took me and my boys to Wyoming last year as a treat, and I'm so grateful for it. And then my oldest was obsessed because you could actually see stars. Like he and his cousin stayed up all night, 2 nights in a row, just staring at stars and talking. It was so cute, and you could actually see so many amazing stars. Ah, okay, good way to meditate. Yeah, that's true. Meditate with the sun and the moon. I feel like the snot and eye watering is decalcification at my pineal gland. Oh, yeah, just like all this release, all this beautiful release. Did that happen a lot when you first started with the gazing? Or does it still happen? Aren't stars magical, Shorejoy? They're so magical. It was so amazing. And like for me, because this kid, he's 17 now, he's about to be 18, which is not okay. But when he was little, like the first book he ever asked for was about space. And anytime he saw the moon in the sky, he'd be like, "The moon, Mama, look at the moon. Do you see the moon? Look at the moon." And so he's always been into it. So it was so cute seeing this like 17-year-old teenager just in his like just channeling his little boyness, like I could see 4-year-old him, and it was just so cute. Thug Empress, I live outside of the city, so we have a pretty decent view here. That's amazing. I'm jealous, Thug Empress. I'm like smack in the middle of a suburb of Houston, Texas. So there's like, no, I have to drive hours. Danny, yes, it happens if you have allergies, but it stops only like a couple minutes now. Okay. I'll have to try it and see what happens. Shorejoy, yes. He's just the sweetest. Ugh. Dominic, that's pretty adorable. I'm sure he'd love the big open Albuquerque skies. Yes. And we lived there when he was 1, so obviously he doesn't remember. But I've wanted to bring them back there just so they could see. My youngest would never lived there, but I love Albuquerque so much. I actually went there a couple years ago with my mom. My mom used to work for Southwest, so she would just fly like everywhere, and it was great to be back on that place. Life with Danny. I don't wear sunglasses anymore, and I used to be super light sensitivity. Really? Because my oldest is super light sensitive. Like Empress, I grew up in Waco in Arkansas now. What part of Arkansas? I lived in Little Rock for 6 years and I miss it and I love it. Arkansas is flippin' gorgeous. Flippin' gorgeous. Sometimes I regret moving back here to Houston, but I was a full-time single mom there and my parents are here in Houston and I was just so tired. I just wanted to be closer to my family. So I think it was fine. Dominic, if you ever make it, let me know. We'll get lunch and chat. That would be so awesome. Yes. Yes. I will definitely let you know. My cat just like meowed at me for that too. She was like, "Oh, why are you yelling?" Life with Danny, you're a flight attendant? That's awesome. My mom applied to be a flight attendant at like 65 years old. She didn't make it. She did like the ticket counter stuff, which was exhausting for her. Like so many people, and this was pre-COVID, but just like so many people and people in their craziness. But I always thought being a flight attendant would be. Do you like being a flight attendant? And how is it now post-COVID? Like I feel like the airlines are having some issues, like all of them. You're outside Fayetteville, Thug Empress. It's gorgeous. So gorgeous. Yeah, okay. Everybody's loving that you're a flight attendant, Danny. Right? Yeah, dealing with the ticket people. I think it helped her too, though, because there's sometimes like she'd be picking up people's suitcases. I mean, she started CrossFit at 69 years old. And so she looks young. You look at her, you wouldn't know she's 70. it's amazing. So I think it helped her because there were times customers would come in and they're like, "Oh, I need a wheelchair. I need something." Like they're like, "I'm so old," and she'll look and realize that she's older than them, and she's the one like lugging their bag onto the carrier and doing all this work. And so she's like, "Okay, I feel young." But in that way, it helped her. Shore Joy. I'm on Vancouver Island. Any of you want to sun, moon, stargaze, or beach or forest bay? Let me know. Shore Joy. Let me just sell all my stuff and then I'm moving in with you, okay? Because I don't know if you heard, but America's broken and I need some nature. I'm kidding, of course. I can't leave my kids yet, but I literally was sitting here the other day for like an hour just looking at all my stuff. Like, if I sold everything, how much would I get and where would I move to? Life with Danny. I used to love my job. COVID made people so negative. Now I created my own thing. Oh, what do you do now? I can only imagine. People are hard sometimes. Yeah. And people are never nice to airline people. It's so bizarre to me. They're like yelling at someone, like, "Why is my flight delayed?" Like, "Oh, I was bored and decided to make it rain." Like, why are you yelling at me? It makes no sense. People are confusing. Okay, Thug Empress. It's beautiful here. Never realized until moved to Arizona and then came back. Oh, yeah. Now I want to know what everyone's HD environments are. That's a good question, Dominic. Okay, do y'all know your human design environments? Pop them in the comments if you know, because that would be so fun. Very curious. What is yours, Dominic? I forgot. I could look it up some. I love the travel and can't travel right now. Flights are full and oversold. We fly standby. And standby sucks because you show up, you might wait all day and not get in a flight. I'm sorry. Canada's not perfect either, but you're welcome to come. I'm sure it's not perfect. Actually, my 15-year-old son was just talking about this today. He's like, you don't hear much bad about Canada. You just don't. Like, this is true. With Danny, I'm a spiritual intimacy advisor. Okay, that sounds amazing. I help people connect to their spirit and connect to source. Ooh, I just got like juicy goodness vibes from that. Were you here earlier when we were talking about connecting to spirit guides? Shore Joy, Arizona is beautiful but different. Yes, Dominic Marcus. That's right. Okay, I knew it would come back to me. Yeah, because we were talking about selling your tarot cards in the markets and like all of that. And so what's funny is you have all those similarities we talked about with my older son, but my younger son is the one that has markets. So yeah, I'm like your second mom. It's fine. Okay, Thug Empress. So markets is part of your human design chart, and not every free system, environment. Environment is part of it. Not every free system will tell you, but Jenna Zoe's does. So if you go to myhumandesign.com and put in your information there, it'll tell you your environment. And then Shore Joy. So yeah, check that out on My Human Design. And Dominic already answered that one. Thank you. Yeah, so I watched 22K in Phoenix trying to get home. What in the world? Goodness. That's a long, hot walk. Thug Empress. It's not for me. I love trees too much. Oh, yeah, I know. Like, there's something beautiful about the desert that I really love, but I don't know. I need to be able to walk in grass and sit next to a tree. Shore Joy. I can never live away from the sea. That makes sense with your username. Shores is one that most fascinates me. I wonder if Shore Joy would have that one. I was just wondering the same thing, Dominic. Shore Joy, we need to know your environment now. No, that's walking from flight to flight to flight trying to get in a seat. Oh my gosh. Okay, I got it now. Good grief, are you serious? Wow. Wow. Danny, that is so much. Oh, goodness gracious. I really hope, like, I don't know, our economy is so crazy now. I'm like, what is anything going to get better anytime soon, or are we just getting worse for a while? Like, what's happening? Because I didn't realize I hadn't been anywhere. I used to take my boys on trips and do different things, but then of course COVID hit, and then just recently I was like, wait, I haven't been anywhere in like 2 years. My mom took us to Wyoming last year. That was the first time, and yeah. Anyway, Shore Joy. Dominic's also guessing mountains. Yeah, I was wondering that too. Danny, do you know your environment? My purpose is to help people. If I'm going to be poor, it's on my own, not making someone else comfy. Yes, ma'am. Yes. That's been my motto lately too. I'm like, you know what? Because like currently, right now, I'm the poorest I've ever been, but I'm the happiest I've ever been. I'm kind of like, I'll be poor for a little bit because I'm figuring out, like, I'm not running myself ragged for somebody else in the hopes that they'll like love me enough to pay me more one day. No, right? Hi, the feel good expert. It's good to see you. Poorest and most lost at the moment. I feel like the most lost parts happen. It happens like right when things are shifting, right? Because it's like, oh my gosh, I've lived my whole life this one way, and that's not aligning anymore. Feel good expert. Hello, hello. Dominic, she says hi to you too. Life with Danny. Everyone will start gravitating towards their passions as work. It won't be work anymore. Yeah, I mean the workspace seems like it's shifting so much, doesn't it? It's just oh, Dominic already said hi to you. It's just fascinating to watch. Like so much is shifting. This whole 9 to 5 and give your life to a corporation, like they don't care about you, and people are figuring that out. And then COVID changed so much, and it's really interesting to watch what's happening. And I'm curious about what's going to happen with the school system, because when I first went to college, I was studying to be a teacher, and then I quit because I had my kid. Anyway, it's a whole thing. And now I've been working in the local school district for like 4 years now. And it's just crazy the way they treat teachers. And I think the whole thing needs to shift. Danny, I'm going to do big things. I can't really speak yet because I don't have the whole picture. I totally feel you on that. I can relate. I feel like I have the same thing in me. Like anytime I do a future meditation, it's like I'm on stage speaking, but like right now, like, but what am I talking about? I don't know. I don't understand. Spirituality is a concept mainstream. Yeah. Excuse me. Teachers are poorly treated. They really are. It's ridiculous. And then some of the things too, like I'll observe with kids. I was a substitute teacher for just the second semester last year because I kind of anyway, I just decided I needed to get out. And the way, like, they're still trying to do school the same way they've been doing it for 100 years, but the kids have the phones in their pocket, so then they're trying to fight the phones. And so their solution is, well, we'll take away phones next year. Like, dude, do you not understand what's happening? Like, that's not the issue. Okay, Shore Joy. My environment apparently is markets. Lies. Danny, I just came home from Salem, Massachusetts. I'm going there ground zero. Wait, you're from Salem? You're going to Salem? Is that what you're saying? Oh. Oh. I like it. Dominic says, high five for market twins. Okay, so Shore Joy, let me talk about markets for just a minute and see how you resonate with this, okay? So your environment is where your system is meant. Hold on, let me pull this up so I can point to things, because I feel better when I can point to things. Okay, so it comes from these arrows, right? This top arrow, the top red arrow is digestion. My finger's disappearing, which is probably on that chart you just looked up too. So you can let me know what that is. And then the bottom one is environment. This is perspective and this is motivation. So the digestion is like oil for your car. It like gets you flowing. Thug and presses caves. Okay. Life with Danny. Ooh. I like it, Life with Danny. Okay, short dry, you're hot. Okay. Okay. So with the hot thirst determination, you're one that probably does better with hot foods. Like you like hot tea. You would have the hot coffee in summer. I don't know if you were here earlier when we were talking about cold thirst, but you're the opposite. You like one of my friends came to visit and she was wearing jeans and a long sleeve shirt and drinking hot coffee in June in Houston, Texas. Because she's like, well, if we're gonna run errands, like I hate it when I first walk in a store and the AC blows on me so much. I would rather just wear long sleeves all day so I don't have to experience that when we walk in the door. I'm like, you must be hot determination. And I looked up at her, I looked her thing, and it was true. So it's just saying that your system probably likes hotter things more, like hot tea, hot soups. You want to have a blanket, or you always have a hoodie with you. You like bring a hoodie everywhere you go, stuff like that. And again, experiment with things, see how it feels. For the markets environment, this one is an environment where, if you think of like a literal market, then like, do you like to go shopping sometimes when you go out? Do you just like, how do you feel when you're at stores and different things? Because if you think about a literal market and the energy of that, that's kind of what markets is like. Like you could set up your house to look like your favorite boutique shop and set up the different options. I'll give you a perfect example. When me and my younger son had COVID and my older son did not, and we had to quarantine. So I was stuck in my room and my older son claimed their room, and my younger son was so excited because he wanted to bring his bed into the living room. And thus Dude Den was created. He actually literally has his bed in the living room right now because summer. So he put the bed in the middle so that he could be in the middle of everything. And then he moved the coffee table to the side and literally set up coffee, like water bottles in rows, and made a little basket with snacks, and like set up a little section for his desk, and had all these things. So he kind of set it up as like a little shop just intuitively, and he's market's environment. So it's things like that. But my older son and I are valleys, and so it's just different. And it just was funny because we like hid in our rooms, which is very valleys. So it's like that. Let me know how that resonates. And then as far as caves, hold on, let me see what I've been missing here. So Thug Empress is caves, and caves is a first line environment. So it's all about safety and security. Like there's one caves friend I have, and she wants her mattress on the floor, and she like curls up in a blanket, like cozy. Think literal cave, like cozy. You are the one that sits with your back to the wall so you can see the exit. You don't want anybody to pop in on you. If you go to a restaurant, you probably sit at a booth so that you can see everything that's happening. Like cozy, comfortable, like literal cave. Like all of your stuff is in this room with you and you're safe. Thug Empress is always cold. I do always want to be warm. Avoid stores as much as possible, but yeah, my home is usually pretty curated. Yeah, dude. If Houston was decent at all, we would. But when we were in Wyoming, we spent a couple nights on the patio, like sleeping in sleeping bags so that we could just fall asleep to the stars. It was amazing. Oh yeah, I get the market sun, but also the valleys idea. Yeah. So what's interesting though is like markets and valleys are opposite of each other. And so everything has an opposite. So if you're markets, then your opposite environment is valleys. I'm trying to, for some reason, I just forgot the actual word they use, but that usually means that it gets you kind of off track. But what's funny is me as a valleys person, sometimes like when I just want to chill and I just want to like do something, I'll just go shop. I go to thrift stores. Like I just got this shirt from a thrift store for $1 because I liked the tiger. I'll go to thrift stores and I'll look around. And so I started just feeling around like why do I do that? Because that's actually my opposite one and it should stress me out, but it doesn't. So as with everything with human design, I'll always tell you experiment, just observe how you feel, observe your motivation for going to certain places, and just get the feedback from there. I would go into the caves here, but they've been closed since 2012 because white nose mold. Ew. Wait, caves where? Where do you live, Thug Empress? Ugh. So with the environments, it's kind of interesting to think about it because again, we were talking about the lines earlier, how 1 is the foundation and then it moves up to 6 with the biggest perspective. Instead of a man cave, make an empress cave. Ooh, a shore joy. Now there's a name. Yes. Yes. Empress cave. God, that sounds amazing. Love the sound of Empress Cave. Sounds so magical, doesn't it? It sounds amazing. Oh, we just talked about this. Sorry. Fayetteville, Arkansas. They have tons. Places called Devil's Den have really cool ones. I never got to explore Fayetteville very much. My kids were a lot younger then. I went to Fayetteville one time. I went on a little trip for a friend's wedding with some other friends. Like I never got to do that in college. I had my son when I was 22, and so it's like, okay, I'll try this. And it was so much fun. But that's really the only time I got to go. But that would be amazing if you could explore. I'd be curious, you know, how you feel like in an actual cave. But also just think about how you set up your room or set up your house. And like where you feel comfortable. Like how do you feel when your back is to the door? Does that stress you out? Stuff like that. With your own cave paintings. You want a tiny home. See, that's like super cavesy right there. Yeah, like everything is just right there. Yeah. Tiny homes are so cute. I think I would like one too. Well, I mean, I live in a 1,000 square foot apartment with my 2 teenage sons, so I just like having the tiny space. I've never been one to want to spread out too much. Especially if you're in Arkansas, like having a tiny home with like if you're on land in Arkansas, that'd be so amazing. Yeah, so 1 is the foundation. Yeah, Thug and Press, right? 1 is the foundation, and then 2, we just go up to 6 being the role model. So if you think about it from the environment perspective, then 1 is caves. And so you think about when we were first like humaning and we were in caves for a safe environment, right? And then we started to come out to markets to look for our options. That's when we started hunting and gathering, right? And then we brought what we had back to, because markets is number 2 for the environment. And we brought it back into the cave to create something in a kitchen. Kitchen is number 3. So that's where we create things. And do our alchemy, essentially, right? Because cooking is basically alchemy. And then 4 is mountains. So we come out of the cave, like we've had our food, we're filled up, so we come out and we go to the mountain to kind of take a break and to get a perspective, and so that we can see the land, see what's going on. And then 5 is valleys. We come down off the mountain, we come down to the valley, check back in with our people, connect with our people. And then in the valley, we can be secluded, we can be one-on-one, we can be intimate with the earth, intimate with people, but then we can also see what's happening because we kind of get this view. And then we've learned everything from all that experience, and so then we go to a new place for our 6th line, which is shores. And shores is about being in the middle of 2 places. And then we start all over. So that's kind of the story of the lines in regards to environment. But it also kind of relates to how the lines present in other ways. You're welcome, Dominic. Yeah, when I first heard that, I was like, got it. That makes so much sense. And so then you can see how it kind of relates to the hardscape of it, to the actual physical environment of it, but then also the kind of theoretical environment of it. And you can see the purpose and like what's happening in there. I missed this from Tina. Hello. Hi, Teresa. It's a new moon and I have no idea what to do with myself. Yeah, this Cancer new moon is bringing up a lot of feels. But right now it is in gate 52, which is coming off the root. You can see mine on the root center. It's this little red one here. It's the gate of stillness. And so for this week, it's really about being still within yourself and listening to yourself and taking a hot minute to understand what it is you actually want before you take action on stuff. So the not knowing what to do with yourself is probably appropriate because it's making you stop for a minute, like stop and listen. So this is a fabulous time for some journaling, for some meditation, and just honestly some listening, because then next week our transits move and it's a little more active. So that's my guess of what's happening for you. Yeah, that's what I've experienced. Like whenever I'm feeling lost or confused, it's usually my system telling me to stop thinking and to listen. I love this group too. I love chatting with y'all so much. It always makes me feel so much better. And I have some new books to check out, which is amazing. Yes, Teresa, yes. Journal meditation. Trying to think if anybody, at some point, I'm sure I'll start making meditations to guide people through this stuff, but it's just not happening to me yet. Oh, Gina, okay. I'm so glad that you popped up. Hope you have a great night. Dominic, yes, everybody is such amazing energy. I love it so much. Dominic, my strongest HD sense is feeling and everyone is making the vibe so great. Yes. We get the vibe check from the feelings guy. It's perfect. Makes me so happy. Shorejoy says that was a suggestion for me too with another question. Valuable. Yeah. So I tend to default I tend to default to guiding you within yourself. And I got to be honest, like there's a fine line, because I know for me being a mental projector, I've kind of struggled with this because the main thing I have is my mind. And so if I spend too much time within, then I get in my mind, which generally means I'm spiraling into some sort of anxiety and depression. But if I can go within and listen and connect to my spirit, then that's so much more helpful, because you have everything you need inside of you. You have your guidance you need. It's just that we all kind of forget that sometimes. And we all just kind of need a little bit of love and support in sitting with ourselves because it can be scary. So yeah, that's why I'm usually like journal and listen and meditate and go within, but go within your body. Don't go within your mind. That's when terrible things happen. Second press, yours is feelings awesome. We're the vibe crew. I love it. Mine is outer vision. So that's why I'm pointing to things all the time. You're welcome, Shorejoy. Which actually, tell me your name. And if you've told me before and I forgot it, I deeply apologize. Sometimes a lot happens and I get excited. Can you tell us about that one? Wait, which one? What did I say, Dominic? I already forgot. For the feelings cognition? Oh, is that what you want to know more about, you guys? Oh, outer vision. Okay. So yeah, outer vision. So like how y'all kind of navigate like by feeling, like you can walk in a room and feel if something's off. I have to see something to understand it. So like when I would be reading a book, I could always remember there was something that stood out to me, like, oh, it's on the left side, it's on the bottom of the page. Or like when I was a coach and I had to explain a game to the kids. When I was a PE coach, I would have to watch one of the other coaches explain the game and like watch the kids play it a bit. If I just read about it, it didn't make as much sense. But then I would have to, when I saw them do it, then I could explain it just fine. And then also it really helps with the guides that I make, like the books that I have in my shop. And because it helps me to integrate when I can put it in a visual sense. So like with my Gates book, and I have, or my centers book, and I have the center and I have all the names outlined, and then I have the circuits it belongs to, and I can have it visual, then it helps me to integrate it more. What's an HD sense? Okay, so that's one of the deeper layers of human design. So this is one of the interesting things where it's kind of gate kept by the older human design generation, like the original generation, because it comes from these arrows, honestly. And so some people believe that you have to be in your experiment for 7.5 years or just 7 years before you can even touch the PHS system, what's involved in the arrows, because they believe you have to be fully deconditioned before you're allowed to understand it. So it's been gate kept, but new people are bringing it in. So that's just a quick history on it. But it's one of the aspects of this top arrow. It'll show you your cognition and your determination. And so, yeah, sense is also called cognition. So there's always 6 because it relates to the lines. And I'm trying to think, if you go to Jenna Zoe's site, I think she puts it on there. She's the only one I know of so far that just gives it for free. So that's myhumandesign.com. One day when my business is more stable, I can get that whole system on my website as well. That's the goal. And then I can reference y'all. But go to Jenna Zoe's. Dominic, I see. My brother is the same, and that makes so much sense for him as well. Yeah. Okay. Good. Yeah. I would love to have that feeling sense, but it just doesn't. It's not always there for me. Yes. So with the left, it means different things per arrow, but in general, left is more focused and right is more absorbing. So for the left, this one, I wish my finger would like stay. So the top red arrow correlates to the brain, and it correlates to the sun and earth on this side. So the brain or the crown center. And so this is, hold on. I'm going to double check so I don't say it wrong. Okay, so this one is, if it's left, then the brain is active. If it's right, then the brain is passive. And then over here, this top one correlates to the ajna, or the mind, and again to the sun and earth. And if it's left, the brain is strategic. If it's right, the brain is receptive. And then on this one, if it's left, you're meant to be observed in your environment. You're more active in your environment. When you're in your correct environment, you get activated. And then on the right, if it's right, then you're meant to observe in your environment, and you are calmer in your environment. So mine is left, I'm valleys. So things like this, like when I get to talk to people, and like you can tell I'm like get really active. But when I'm not around anybody, like my kids are gone and y'all aren't here, then I'm just like I have no energy. Like I don't know what to do. I got nothing to say. Or if I'm in an environment where like a lot of people and I can't connect with somebody, then it's too stressful. Anyway, so yeah, observed or observer. Good, Dominic. Yay. Because yeah, they don't talk about this much. There's actually someone on Instagram who started a course on this to like deep dive into it, which is really fascinating. So if you want her information, I can send it to you. I'm not ready to deep dive like as a teacher in this, but she's really cool. So this right one, so here's one that I feel obliged to talk about. Like my one line gets stressed about this one. This is your view, your personal view. We don't really talk about this one much. Like if you try to find information on TikTok or on Instagram, a lot of people will say that this is your manifestation arrow. That if it's right, you're more of a visual manifester or a non-specific manifester, and if it's left, you're a specific manifester. But that was created by Jenna Zoe. Part of why I have a hard time referring people to her website, but I appreciate that she gives more information in her free chart. But here's the thing, like she started talking about how this is the manifestation arrow. That is incorrect according to the original download. This is your view. Like I have probability view personally. And so transference, that's the word I was thinking of earlier, sorry. so for my view, I'm meant to see what's probable, you know? So everybody's meant to really view the world in a different way. And hold on, let me remember the exact wording for that. So some people reference it as a manifestation arrow, but that's, I don't know. It seems to help some people to think that way, but it's just not part of the original download. As far as I have been able to figure out, it's what Jenna Zoe says. And so my one line and defined mind cannot handle that. All your arrows are opposite of mine. So the fun thing is, okay, so I don't know. Oh, right. Okay, so mine's right facing, so it's peripheral view. All right, I just remembered I started a Canva thing on this and then apparently totally lost it. So I should put a Canva thing together again. I can put it on my shop. So let me tell you the story of this, okay? We start here with the subconscious top arrow, the design top arrow. Let's see if I move here, if this will help. And this is, again, your cognition and determination. This is aligning your insides to the correct place that they're meant to be. So all the hot thirst people that we were talking about, when you drink your hot tea or have your hot soup, then it just helps to fine tune the system within. And again, experiment. So you have that. And then we move to this bottom arrow, which is your environment. So then that places your body in the correct environment, in the correct place, so that you can meet the correct people and so you can see from the correct viewpoint, which moves us to this arrow over here. Like we're all meant to see from a specific viewpoint. And then once we can see from our appropriate correct viewpoint from our correct environment, and we've eaten our correct food, then we're correctly motivated. And our motivation is the top arrow. And so again, one line insecurity, I don't feel like I know enough about this. But for an example, for me, it's like I have open taste. So I'm still experimenting with that, but I eat correctly, which is basically like, what do I want to eat right now? And I have the outer vision, so I'm navigating the world through my vision. And then I have Valley's environment, and so I get to my correct valley, and then I'm meant to be observed. So like this whole thing is exactly perfect for me. Y'all are observing me talking about this, right? And so then I have my probability view, and so you can probably hear this in a lot of ways that I speak, where it's like, well, here's maybe what's happening. Here's what I could see is probably the answer. But I see lots of options, or I see some options, and I'm not going to tell you exactly because I can't. And then I have fear motivation, and fear motivation is a one-line thing, and it's all about getting to the bottom of things. It's also about asking questions and wanting to know like why the cracks are in the foundation. Like it's the one, I used to have this visual before I even had human design, where it's like my life is a garden, and I would see weeds in my garden. And so then I would go down on my hands and knees to pick the weeds, but then I would get so obsessed with making sure my garden was free of weeds that I would just get lost in the dirt, and instead of standing back and enjoying. So that can be like a shadow aspect of that. But the fear motivation is the one that's like, oh, well, we have weeds in the garden. Let's figure out why there's weeds and what we can do about the weeds so that the flowers can grow, as an example. So when we put that all together and we look at how I'm a mental projector, it's like, clearly I'm here to just take in information, process it, and share it. And that's it. And so it gives you a deeper view into the energetics of your chart. So that was my little lecture. Let me know what y'all think. This is helping me fine tune how to talk about this. And would y'all like it? Thank you, Dominic. Would y'all like it if I put together a little PDF about it? Because I think that would help me understand it. It's also hard. Yeah, there's so much to learn, Thug Empress. So much. Writing a note to myself. It's also hard to find source material about it because, again, it's been fairly gatekept. So I'm in the process of collecting that. Jeff, I've had struggle finding some of the gatekept info. Yeah. And I've been invited to some of the information, which has been really helpful. I have not invested in like the IHS school because I just haven't felt invited into there. Like it hasn't felt correct. And one thing I love about human design, it helps me to like stand up for myself. I'm like, oh, I'm a 1-3 mental projector. Like I've got the one line, I've got the mental projectorness. Like I'm going to study this for myself until I feel like I need help getting deeper. We're going to go from there. But I do have source material in this now that I'm unpacking slowly because it's mostly written out documentation of Ra's lectures, and he kind of goes on tangents a lot. So it'll be like, let's talk about environments, but then he ends up not talking about it. So it's interesting. That's okay. That was fun. Thank you for asking about that. Got to go on that little trajectory there. And I just also want to say, like, for everybody in their experiment, just experiment and feel things out. you know, and remember that it takes 7 years to decondition, and that's proven physically. Again, Prince, I'm supposed to sit on the roof until I'm 50 and step into my role 10 more years. Okay, but let's unpack this. Okay, let's perspective shift this a little bit. The 6th line inherently is an old soul. Like, you're a role model. You have this inherent wisdom in you. Okay, the first 30 years was probably rough, and then now you're in that second phase, which is great. The second phase is really a calm down phase. You're like starting to figure out what does work for you. And so, from my perspective, as a lifelong 3 line, I've watched a few people move onto the roof. Like, I just was introduced to them on social media in their late 20s, and then happened to watch them as they're going onto the roof through their Saturn return. And the energetic shift is mind-blowing, and I get a little jealous of it, because I'm like, these women are 10 years younger than me, and all of a sudden they're smarter than me, they're building businesses faster than me, they're doing all these things. It's like they know themselves on a deeper level that, like, I've been struggling to figure out for 10 years, and that I've got to 3 line it and like go fuck something up again and learn the lesson, hopefully. So, so with the second line, or the second phase of that 6th line, I just really want to encourage you to just really enjoy it. Like, enjoy learning more about yourself, and trust that you have this innate wisdom, this role model wisdom. And then it'll just be curious about what'll happen at 50, like what energetic shift will happen at 50, and how will things be a little different, and just enjoy this time now, you know, because that's all we got. That's all we got. Teresa, how do we decondition? So that's a good question. It's really about, first and foremost, following your strategy and authority. That's the main thing to do, especially in the beginning of your experiment, to really get into that. Thank you, Dominic. And follow that strategy and authority. And also really get to know your centers. That's where I tell people to start. You can look at the defined centers and understand that you have this beautiful wisdom. This is the wisdom you're meant to share with the world. Whatever's defined is what you're meant to condition the world with. Whatever's undefined is what you're meant to be conditioned by and to learn about. And so, the first thing, okay, yeah, I was just trying to remember your chart in my head, but I've done a lot. So for you, though, it would be about the gates. And so it'd probably just start with the sun and maybe the earth gate. Right, Teresa, yeah. And just explore that. But for you as a reflector too, with all that openness, just remember that it's also all this wisdom. And so starting to understand what's yours and what's not, and having the strong boundaries. I always recommend morning routines, because that gets you solid into your own energy to begin with. I have on my YouTube, I have a playlist of morning routine stuff, of like videos that I use a lot for breath work, for meditations, for music, to help for whatever. So you can check that out and see if that helps you at all, to tune into your own energy. And then it's really just about listening within, especially as a reflector, like giving yourself space, giving yourself time, putting up those boundaries energetically, and then really observing what's going on, of like what energy is yours, what is not, and learning to observe that and not take things on. Yeah. Yeah, so there's one I have on there. I might have 2, but I know I have one for Wim Hof breathing, a breathing routine, and that one has been amazing for me. I love it. And yeah, breathwork has really, really helped. Lily, if I only see my personality side, I'm a reflector, which makes so much sense to me, but I'm an MG. Okay, so that's a great point. So when we can take charts apart and look at just the personality side and just the design side. And so when I do that, I'm a reflector personality and a reflector design. but together I'm a mental projector. And you can tell because here my one channel, half is red and half is black. So if we take it apart, then nothing is connected to itself. And so the thing to expand on this, it's like your managenness, that's who you're meant to be in this life. That's how you navigate the world, right? But then if we unpack it and look at how you're remember, the personality is all conscious. This is all who you believe you are. This would correlate to your astrology chart if you go to like after.com and look at that. And then the design is here, like who you're meant to be. You might not really recognize it so much because it's running on the subconscious level. So learning to unpack the energetics over here can help you to get to a deeper level of who you're meant to be here. This is how you present. This is your outside shining spot. This is the energy you're really shining out that you're like, yeah, I'm totally like, I've got gate 47, the gate of oppression on my defined mind. Yeah, I totally overthink everything. That makes sense. But then I come over here, it's like, oh, I'm gate 45, the queen gate? Like I'm supposed to be in charge of stuff? What? But the more I've aligned to myself, like it's again just like this, like it's about sharing resources. It's about showing up and share, like being a queen and standing up for my people and saying, what do you need to have a better life? I'm the queen here. I have so many resources. Let me figure out how to share them with you so I can make sure everybody is taken care of. And that fucking intimidated me when I first started, but now it's starting to make more sense. So let me know if that makes sense. So you can see, and also when I think about how I'm a reflector on both sides, it helps me to relax a bit where I can say, okay, like let's just lean into this 28-day thing. Let's try the reflector strategy. And maybe it's going to take me a hot minute to figure out some things, and that's okay. So yeah, that also reminds me, we were talking about past life regressions before. So I got to tell y'all, because we were talking about the queen vibe. And one time in a meditation, it just referenced, like, think about something in a past life that might be interfering with this life. And all of a sudden I got this imagery of me as a queen being beheaded. Like all of a sudden I was just like meditating, like, peaceful. And then boom, I was like, oh my gosh. And so, but then it hit me as like, made all this sense of like, that's why I'm so scared to stand up for myself. That's why I'm so scared to stand up and like use my voice. Oh my gosh. Isn't that crazy? Isn't that crazy? And it was so weird. Like I could see the blade, and I heard off with her head, and it was like the long blade, like the round blade, and he like did this. Right? Right? So I'm like, what was that? What was that? Yeah, so I think about that sometimes when I get scared. I'm like, okay, well, that was a past life. So maybe I'm here now because it's safer for me to speak publicly. And yeah, intense, right? So intense. Oh. And then I had other better ones. So let me tell you, intense but super cool, right? Yeah. I mean, it really was. Then I part of me, like, I was freaked out, but then once I calmed down, I was like, was I really a queen? Like, I need to research this. I was like, what queens were beheaded? I haven't researched it too much. I don't know how much I want to know about my past lives. Like, I just, I don't know how beneficial it is. I can see how it could be beneficial in certain ways, but other times I'm like, but let me tell you, I did this one regression with the woman, like a whole meditation thing, and there were three scenarios. And so the first one, I dropped in to this nature place. I was barefoot. I was like an indigenous woman. I had a brown dress, and it was nighttime. The moon was full. I was like surrounded by trees, but then there was this clearing, and then there were these adobe houses, like old adobe houses with the holes, like the holes in the wall. They didn't have windows or doors or whatever. Dominic probably knows about some of these, right? Like very New Mexico vibes. But it was deserted. And so maybe I was. I just know that the moon was full and I looked down and my feet, I was barefooted, I was on the ground and I had this dress on. And then it was like a whole neighborhood of these houses, which since then I have seen. I don't know where it is, but I saw it in like a magazine. And I go up to one because there's this light, and then I go and look in the window. I was like, why is there a light? And I look in the window, and then it's just like the light was so bright that the scene just ended there. It's like, that's weird. And then, um, yeah, meditating can bring some interesting things. And so then she brought me to the next scene, which dropped me into the house my mom grew up in Cody, Wyoming, the one we visited last year. And I was there, and then my grandpa was there, who passed when I was 5. But I've always had these, like, sometimes I'll have these moments where I swear he's probably here now. Like, he comes to visit me. And so my grandpa was there, and he was making me oatmeal with raisins, which was his favorite thing, and he was wearing overalls. And I remember looking around at the house, and we were just there hanging out, and he was just talking to me, and it was the sweetest thing. And I cried because I don't have any memories of him, but I feel very connected to him. And I told my aunt about this years later, and I told her what the table looked like in the house, and she's like, oh yeah, we had a table just like that. And I told him how he was sitting down, like his body language when he was sitting down, and she said, yeah, he used to sit like that all the time. And so that made me cry more. And so we had to end that scene, and she's like, okay, you need to say goodbye to your grandpa. And I was so sad, and I like curled up in his lap and gave him a hug. And then the third scene, I was in this room with no walls. It was like very matrixy, and there was just this one like tall silver table, and then this like 6 foot tall lizard person came in the room, like white lizard person, and he would only speak telepathically because she was kind of guiding me, and she's like, ask him what his name is, and he wouldn't answer me. And so I said that, and she's like, ask again. And he's like, I don't know, call me what you want, like names don't matter here. Like, okay. And so I followed him. He's like, just follow me. And so I followed him, and we go to this UFO ship. And I was like, what's happening? This was years ago, so I wasn't quite ready for stuff. And we walked on the ship, and I remember certain aspects of it. But then we were trying to go in this room, but then it was like there was this veil. And it was like I didn't want to see what was happening. I wasn't ready for it. So we ended that. And so those are all my experiences with past life regression meditations. Aren't those crazy? So interesting. But the grandpa one, was so sweet. And then the one time I hired a psychic, my grandma, who's like my mom's mom, she came through right away. Like as soon as I got on the phone or on the Zoom call with the psychic, she's like, okay, so I got to tell you, there's a woman here that has not stopped talking since I connected to your energy. Like she just hasn't. And and anyway, I was like, that's Grandma Glitter. So it's just so fun that they come and chat with me a little bit. Makes me feel good. Anyway, I don't know why I just told you all of that. But I hope you enjoyed my stories. I think I missed something up here. Oh, Teresa, I've always been attracted to the moon since I was a little girl. I've always wanted a telescope. Yes, I love the moon. Love it. My main experience was regressing and having visions of being a healer woman. Ooh, Dominic. Shordray. Okay, good. I'm glad you enjoyed the stories. And then I met her love from the past life. In this life? What? You're welcome, Thug Empress. Thank you for listening. See, I'd be so curious what would come through if I worked with you. And he remembered the same things too. Dominic. What? That's so cool. That's so cool. Didn't work out. It ended up being not the right situation, but still. Yeah. See, I wonder about that too. Like, who is around now that was in a past life, and like, why are they here now? Especially with my kid's dad and his dad. Like, there's a whole thing there. But I'm like, why? Well, clearly there was some karma that needed to be cleared up. It seems like that's the only reason. It's the only reason. And someone told me once that my kids and I have been in every life together. Like, we always find a way to be together. So like, that makes sense because we get along really well. Ignore the SOS typos. I was wondering for a second. I was like, "Are you in trouble, Teresa? Like, do we need to do something?" Then I figured it was a typo. Okay, y'all. Well, it's so fun. I never know what's gonna happen when I come on these lives. Like, we'll just see. And I think I'll work. So, okay, y'all. I put up a thing in my shop though for the heart center, for talking about deconditioning the heart center, and it has a video about the heart center, about how the not self voice presents, and it has a video for an EFT tapping routine to help release the not self voice. And I plan on doing that for each center. It comes with a little PDF. It has journal prompts and stuff too. So you can find that in my shop. And then the next one I'm working on is the G Center. And then I'll also work on ones for the arrows to have the information there. And my intention right now is to make things that are really simple and straightforward for like people who are just starting, who like want to begin the process of integrating this, you know? Duh. Sure, Joy. Someone told me my stepdaughter and I are always together and always take turns being mother figure. That's so sweet. Sure, Joy. Oh my gosh, especially with the stepdaughter situation. I'm so I'm very single, but I was always hoping that my kids would have a better father figure, and I always thought it'd be kind of sweet if I found someone with kids. I just love on more kiddos. But I love that it's your stepdaughter that finds you too. That's just really sweet. And yeah, EFT is so good. I love it. I got the idea from the last live. I mean, it's been in my head for a while, but someone mentioned it, and I was like, yeah, I've been wanting to do that for a while. And they're like, do it, please. So I did. But I just started with the Heart Center one. And if all goes well, I'll finish the G Center tomorrow. The idea that you're together is lovely. Isn't that so sweet, Dominic? I just love that so much. So yeah, I just wanted to make sure I told y'all about that just in case. Yeah, because also I'm just really trying to figure out. I feel like I get inspired every time I'm on here, but I'm just trying to figure out, like, I've been trying to figure out mentally, like, how to run this business and how to do this business and like create the best offer and do all this stuff, and it keeps 3-line blowing up, and so now I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna see what I feel invited into. We're just gonna try it that way. So I'm always open. Like, if there's something that y'all are wanting, like, you know, I've talked to Dominic about a mental projector thing, but then I've just totally overthought it at this point. So I had to step away for a minute, like figure out what that would look like. Yeah, there's just, I have 1,000 ideas. It's just crazy. So I'm always open. If you had the urge to say something, like that helps me to understand what's actually wanted instead of me just trying to come up with something out of my brain. Especially since her parents cut me off. What? Her parents cut you off? Oh, I'm so sorry. She's 15. She's the same age as my younger son. Thank you. Thank you. I've kind of hesitated from teaching this stuff, but that is genuinely what I feel more invited to share. It's just, you know, share this in a impactful and simple way. Because not everybody wants to deep dive into everything, you know, and when you first start, it's kind of overwhelming. So it's like, let's just take a step back. Okay, let's just chill here. Yeah, I didn't know when I put my foot down about keeping the dog I would lose her. What? Oh my gosh. I'm so sorry. Dominic, so true. It would make total sense if you had the cross of explanation. Like you do? Wait, do you? Yeah. Or like my older son. But that's interesting. You have the cross of rulership. Yes. So I've been unpacking that. And it makes sense though, because it's like I was talking about with the queenly energy. It's all about sharing resources. And so there's somebody else on Instagram that I've seen that she talks about how she has the cross of rulership, and she just made her whole HD school thing. So of course I got really jealous for a minute and kind of bitter because she's a manifester and she has the cross of rulership and she's just manifesting all this great stuff. And so, but it helped me to see how she explained it and how she shows up in it. I was like, oh my gosh, yes, I'm sharing resources. It's just another aspect of me being a teacher. Like everything about me points to being a teacher. So yeah, I'll just figure out how I'm meant to share this. You gave me the way into understanding how to deep dive. Good, yay, good. That's my goal because that's just kind of what I vision. Just helping people to first connect to the energy of it and to connect to your own inner wisdom of it. You know, because I mean, the whole age of the guru, that's a whole other topic. Talk about forever. Has anybody seen the Till Swan documentary? Like that's the guru is dying. You have all the information you need inside. It's just I believe that sometimes we've been cut off from that because of conditioning. And so all I want to be is the one that reminds you of your awesomeness and helps you to move all the dust out of the way. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Shore Joy. We love teachers. Yay. I love teaching. It's so much fun. I love sharing information. And I love the process of researching it and putting it together and then being able to share it with people. Makes me so happy. And I think it's weird that the picture just disappears on me sometimes. It just puts this thing. But, okay. I should probably get myself settled in for bed. I always get so excited after I talk to y'all, and it's like I'm high on this energy. So I need to settle myself down a bit. But I will definitely be live again tomorrow at some point. I don't know when. My kids are with their dad, so yeah. And I'm just trying to go live more. It always gives me some kind of insight, and I love chatting with y'all. It just helps me feel better. Will you post this live on YouTube? Yes. I need to post the last one on there too. I will. It takes a while to like download and stuff, so it'll probably be tomorrow when I get it up. I need to figure out how to take snippets, because like if I could take that snippet of when I was talking about the arrows and put it as a separate thing, but I don't have the energy to figure that out. I'm thinking about paying my kid to figure it out. So appreciative always for your lives. Thank you so much, Dominic. Same to you. Just missed the beginning. Okay, so you can check it on YouTube. There's a lot of me just teaching stuff tonight. So yeah, I'll put it up tomorrow. And then I'm going to put up the one I did yesterday. I'm going to put that up tonight. Grand rest. Thank you for being, oh my gosh, that just made me so happy. Thank you for saying that. I've caught you live a few times. Always great energy and learning. Yes, I always love seeing you on here too. Thank you. Do you have a PC? I have a Apple MacBook Air. I'd like to next session with you for next week. But okay, awesome. Yay. Oh my gosh. Okay, usually I get an email notification, but I guess it was on sleepy mode. now I just got worried that someone donated and wanted a reading, and I just ignored them. I didn't mean to. I hope that didn't happen. I'll have to look. But yay, I'm so excited to chat with you next week. That's amazing. Type snippet. Okay, wait. Sam, type snippet in the search bar on the bottom of your toolbar. I don't know, I came in here and heard something about snippets. Okay, I'll try that. I was just saying, like, maybe if I could figure out how to take a piece of the video out. I have ideas of how I could do it. Like just take a section of the live tonight and make it its own video. I just don't have the energy to try to figure it out. But maybe my 15-year-old manifestor son would want to figure it out for me. The Purgatory. Oh my gosh, Becca, hi! I'm like at the tail end, and you're just here, but that's okay. I'm so glad that you came in and said hi. Oh yeah, the cap cut. I just need to get that. Honestly, I just need to get that because I have the whatever iMovie or whatever that came with the MacBook, and it's okay. I've missed you too, Becca. It's weird. I feel like I haven't talked to you in forever. So I'm glad to see you on here. We had a good one, but you know what? I'm gonna put the replay on YouTube tomorrow, so you can check it out. We talked about all kinds of stuff tonight. Thank you, Sam. Thank you. Yeah, thank you for reminding me about CapCut. I will check that out. That would be a good one. And I told my kid that I'd start paying him for that anyway, because he wants to be an entrepreneur. So it'll help him. Oh, but this was perfect. I love y'all. I really appreciate you spending this evening with me and chatting and sharing stories. It was so great. And I'll talk to you more tomorrow. Have a good night.